Hello and welcome to Soap Secrets. We're going to start this week by talking all things Coronation Street, and Claire Ruck is joining me today. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Hannah.
Okay, so you've had your annual leave. You're back with a bang. Tell me more. What's going on?
Well, I just wanted to mention first of all, because while I was on annual leave, the NTAs, the National Television Awards, took place, and you know what? Coronation Street wiped the board. We had Molly Gallagher, who plays Nina. She won Best Serial Performance. And Jude Riordan, who plays Little Sam, he won Best Newcomer. And Corrie itself won Best Serial Drama. And you know what, Hannah? This shows just how much Corrie is on fire at the moment. It is just on fire.
It really is, and I think it absolutely deserved those awards because, you know, this has been a really difficult time and everyone's done their level best to, you know, get through it and to, deal with the situation in hand. But I think Coronation Street has done it admirably. Yeah. They've done it really, really well with some great storylines. They haven't sort of thought, oh, well, we'll take off the gas. In fact, quite the opposite.
Yes, and their storylines have layers to them. So there's always depth, and then they have the lighter touches. We have the Audreys and the Ritas, and it just brings together this complete drama that we welcome into our lives, you know, on a weekday night. So it's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course we've got Super Soap Week, haven't we, coming up, which
in a couple of
is
weeks.
Brilliant.
I know that's going to be ITV do this thing where they do it every night, and it's going to be, they save it and they have these massive storylines. So we this is where Coronation Street is heading. It's heading down this road to this Super Soap Week, which is I mean, this week's a great week, but you know, in a couple of weeks' time it's going to blow your mind. So
this week though, it's all about Kelly's sentencing, isn't it?
Yes, and we all know what happened at the trial. Sabine got Corrie off, despite the fact that he was guilty, and poor innocent Kelly was took the blame. And this week it's her sentencing. Now, Abby ran off after she would do. She's you know, it's emotional. It was her son. Her son has been murdered. You know, and she ran off after the trial ended, and we haven't seen her for a couple of weeks. So Kevin is hoping that she might show for this sentencing, because you know it's an important part of justice. So it's very important. All the families generally turn up for the sentencing. William Rand's impassioned plea helped to get innocent Kelly a lighter term. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Kevin is really desperate to get fiancée Abby back, because, you know, like, they were due to get married. They were on. She was on a hen night. When the news came through that her son had been attacked, and he subsequently died that night. And he's worried for Abby, and he's determined, because they were going to get married, he's determined to get justice for her and also for Seb, as the murder victim. And so he rages at Sabine after the sentencing for getting Corrie off scot-free. And, everything's going well for Corrie. Poor Kelly, we know she sadly, once she'd been found guilty, she attempted to take her life that night when she was, taken back to prison. But Corrie, nothing's touching him. As a footballer, he's been promoted to county's first team. So and like you say, particularly in soap, we all want justice done no matter. But in soaps particularly, we've got to restore the equilibrium at some point. I mean, it takes a long time sometimes, as we well know. But Corrie, we need to get this sorted. We need to get this right. Yes. So this is really distressing for Kevin, because if Abby found out, Nina's furious about it, because obviously Seb was her boyfriend, and so they try to get Corrie, both Nina and Kevin come together and try to get Corrie thrown out of the county football club. They, all of this is going on. They try to wreck his reputation. Corrie's dad, Stefan, calls at the garage to warn Kevin off. But in all of this, will Abby come home and come back to the bosom of her family, where really she belongs?
Will she?
Yes. Well,
you can't tell me, can you?
No.
It's a cliffhanger. And on a slightly lighter note, it's Audrey's birthday.
Yes, it's Audrey's birthday. I love Audrey. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant.
She really is.
And she gets miffed because she gets all these little old lady gifts. Well, I never think of Audrey as being elderly. She's
graceful, isn't she?
Yes,
To me actually, she's always looked the same.
Yes, I don't think she's changed, has she?
No, I agree.
No, well, her family, consider her to be a little old lady because they've been given her little old lady gifts. And
they've given her like floral scented soap.
Yes. I know. So she gets some of them. She'll be throwing them at her family, and then Gail accuses her of squinting. And when one girl says this, I don't need glasses, and she storms off. But as she drives away, she hits Rita's car. So has age finally caught up with Audrey?
No, she just got a bit angry, didn't she? It can happen to us all. We've all done it, haven't we? Oh, Audrey, that'll all be fine. I love these. I love it when soaps just have these kind of like random storylines running along, because obviously that's such a biggie in there this week. And then there's just this light-hearted, and Audrey. Emmerdale.
Yes.
Let's move from Coronation Street to Emmerdale. This week we really kind of see the impact of grief on Layla and Liam's marriage, don't we?
Yes. So this is something we've talked about before, and I've said that I think that the way they are portraying Liam in his grief they've done this really, really well, because I know it is a story, but so often in soaps, not in the Coronation Street Abbey line, but a soap character, somebody is murdered, but actually we don't actually see the grief. They have a couple of weeks of grief and then life goes on, doesn't it, as normal? But actually life doesn't go on as normal. Grief is can be all consuming. It can take years for people to come to terms with. So for Layla and Liam, this is massive. They've had a very torrid time of it. Let's face it, when poor Leanna died, of course, they had only been married for like 3 weeks, so it wasn't like, they were still in the honeymoon phase. And then, of course, Layla got pregnant accidentally, and then she lost the baby. So really, they've had massive amounts of life-changing events in a very, very short time. And at this point, of course, Liam doesn't realise that his daughter was murdered, because obviously Mina hasn't been outed. But so he just thinks she died. So the murder bit hasn't hit him yet, because obviously he doesn't know. And this week, she thinks, they're trying with the marriage, and she thinks, I'll take him lunch, because Liam gave up his job in the village and he said he told her he'd started a new job in Houghton Hospital. So she thinks, I'll take him lunch and we can sit and chat over his lunch hour. Anyway, when she gets there, she's shocked to discover he doesn't work there. So that's been a bit of a fib. And then so when she confronts him about, I pitched up at the hospital to have lunch with you and they didn't know you, so they said you didn't work there. He's very, very evasive, and she fears he's hiding something. And after Mandy makes a comment about seeing Bernice, she fears that maybe Liam is getting comfort by having an affair with Bernice, because obviously they were together before. He and
he didn't choose Bernice, did he?
No, he didn't. So can Layla save her marriage and her husband? I think this is one of the layer ones. He's in grief. Let's see exactly what he is doing and where he is finding comfort, and it might not be in the place you think.
No, I think he's the grief does funny things,
yes.
But of course he's sort of shutting out the one person he really needs to rely on.
Yes, he does. Yes, he has.
And it's not the only storyline, of course, because things go from bad to worse for Paddy.
Yes, I know. Poor Paddy. He wanted to help his lovely wife Chaz save the Woolly. So he'd been doping Kim's horses. So it's a really bad thing, because that'll get him struck off quite quickly if that was ever to be discovered. But he feels trapped because obviously once you've done it once, Kim has him over a barrel, doesn't she, Hannah?
She does. I don't know why he did it. He's such a wally.
I know. He thought that Kim could help him get, retain the woolly for Chaz and Marlon. Anyway, so she asks him to dope his horse again, and Bad Al is suspicious when he catches the two of them talking in hushed tones, and later he begins blackmailing Paddy. Does he know?
Oh, Paddy. Mind you, that's what keeps his character fresh, isn't it, at the end of the day? Because, he could be just so easily just the lovely, lovable Paddy who's a vet in the village and saves all the animals' lives, and then it would just be nothing. So I suppose I have to wrap him up in he gets caught up in a sort of a buffoon type way, doesn't he?
Yes. I think this is really good because Al has come on leaps and bounds as a baddie, and they've done him really well because they didn't just drop him in, helicopter him in and make him a baddie straight away. We've had all sorts of, we've seen him as a ladies' man. We saw him, we saw him do lots of horrible things, and now here he is. I think this is his worst thing. He wants to buy into the wool pack. And we don't know why, we don't know what his motives are, but it won't be a good motive, will it, Hannah?
No, it won't be, no, definitely. That's one thing you can be sure of. And there's no good motives in Hollyoaks because, ever, but actually particularly this week, because poor old Juliet is in danger, isn't she? Because she realises that Perry might have a stalker.
Yes. So Juliet thinks that Perry has a stalker, and when she spots Timmy, bad Timmy, who's in cahoots with Fergus and Bluebird, which comes up every now and again. That one's still waiting in the wings to blow up. Timmy, he's watching Perry at the hospital, and she accuses him of stalking Perry, and he covers his tracks and pushes her down the stairs. So poor Juliet ends up in hospital unconscious, and then Timmy realises that this has put him in a worse position than just being a stalker. He's now pushed someone down the stairs, which is attempted murder, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if she were to wake up, she could reveal all. And so as Timmy contemplates drastic action, will Juliet survive?
God. It's just too much. There's too much death here. Don't hurt any more people. And Shaq is still on a mission to find out who his dad is.
Yes.
But Mum is definitely trying to put him off the scent.
Yes. So obviously, Dad is there must be a backstory here if Mizpah doesn't want to tell Shaq who his father is, because otherwise you would just say your dad is so and so, or your dad was so and so, but very sadly, he's no longer with us, or all sorts of things. But she's desperately trying to put him off the scent. And when the two have an argument about it, she tells Shaq that his dad is dead. And when this turns out to be a lie, it hits Shaq really hard. And, so why is Mizpah hiding the identity of his father? And will Shaq ever find out the truth?
Well, the truth always comes out, Claire. I hate to tell you this. It always does, particularly painfully in soaps. And it's very... Sorry.
Can I just mention one last thing?
Yeah.
So this is going to shock you, Hannah. Brody's dead. I'm absolutely shocked. I couldn't believe it when I watched it.
I can't believe it.
Summer came back and was going to confront Sienna and Brody. They did it on a cliff top, and you kind of expected, Summer to end up over the cliff edge.
Not Brody.
No, Brody didn't end up over the cliff edge. Although I did say, wouldn't it be a good twist if he did? But he's desperate, Summer has a gun, and she was intent on killing Sienna. Brody, they've reconciled. Brody wanted to save Sienna. He said, no, I will go to the police station and I will tell the police that what I did to Cormac, what Warren and I did to Cormac, and that, we will go to prison and you will get your justice. Please don't hurt Sienna. So he runs off to the village, to report himself to the police. Sienna, in the meantime, manages to pick a rock up. She manages to knock out Summer. She runs off to say to Brodie, "It's all right. I've sorted it all out." And as they're about to hug each other, a speeding car comes around the corner and slams into Brodie, and he dies in Sienna's arms.
Oh, it's such a horrible end.
I know. Oh,
honestly.
It was really shocking.
It was really shocking. I just think it's just, no. Not good.
Because you think they were going to have their happy ever after.
Exactly. No one gets that. No, again, Claire, you're the soap expert. You should know that. No, that doesn't happen. And I'll tell you one person who's never going to get a happy ever after, and that's Whitney. Because, my goodness, that girl, she really does not have happy days, does she? And this week in EastEnders, in the square, good old serial killer Grey asked Whitney out for a dinner. And it's just like, there's the next victim waiting. And she's been embroiled in this before. We've been concerned about her welfare before. And she's sort of got out of his clutches back.
Yes, completely. I mean, so what does Grey want with Whitney? Does he think that she's young and that he can control her like he was controlling Chantel? He desperately needs a sort of a new mother for his two children. So what exactly does he want? He asks her out for dinner first of all, and she says no. I'm still in love with Kirsch, because we all know that Grey killed Kirsch because he was dating Whitney. She says no, but then, Whitney's been doing this singing, and last week Rocky threw a bit of a hissy fit at this woman that was organising all the events, and got Whitney was dropped from the lineup. But Grey this week manages to get Whitney reinstated, so she sees him in a nicer light, shall we say, and she agrees to go for dinner with him. So she's softening towards him. She does know him. I think she trusts him quite well. She has not seen the bad side of him. Actually, nobody apart from Chantel ever saw the bad side of him. So she trusts him, and she agrees to take things slowly and start with dinner. So what exactly is Grey's plan? Is it love? Is it love, or does he have something else in mind? Because at the moment
he can't love anyone but himself, and he's so controlling, as we've seen before in other relationships. The thing is, Whitney, this is her character. She's stereotyped, isn't she, to a degree? She is so vulnerable in so many ways, and she gets used by people, and she's easy to use by someone like him, but. You don't want her coming to a sticky end over this, because this isn't just a control and abuse. This is staring death, down the barrel of death, because that's what he does, right? But she doesn't know that, clearly. Yes. That's the reality.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So the thing is that although she's taking it slowly, this is going to be a bigger storyline, isn't it?
Yes, it has to be. This has been going on for a year now, so I would imagine it's got to come. It must be coming towards its end. So is this the start of the end for Grey as he moves in on Whitney? Yeah, we have had a bit of Tina. We've had about three weeks ago, Tina's name came up. He did that silly thing where he said he'd seen Tina and said Shirley and Mick looking for her. Then he lost his job, and he has used Tina's credit card, which is very silly.
Very silly. It's all going on this week, isn't it?
Yes. So it's all going one way, that storyline.
Yeah, the wrong way.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Claire. That is it, I'm afraid, from us this week. But we will be back next week with lots more gossip, lots more to cheer you up, or perhaps not so much. But we have a giggle anyway. And we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.